On Two Wheels this week, there's more from Richard at the Alton Park Track Day. Also the results of our exhaust dyno testing. And Wayne looks at a new type of immobiliser. And Jeff guides us through a brief history of Honda's Fireblade. And there's more chat from Max Biaggi and Checa.
No doubt about it, there's some pretty high-tech kit here and some impressive bikes, and we've got some high-tech stuff of our own because we are, as you know, a very upmarket programme. Stu, this is a thing of great beauty.
It is, yeah.
This is your on-board camera kit.
Yeah, DV, yeah.
Nice, nice.
And this is a microwave egg poacher, which is patented.
Nice.
And this is the latest in duct tape. You can use it for all sorts, as the girls know.
Very nice.
And we just see, you just stick a little bit there. That goes over there. That's it.
It's quality.
And you're laughing, aren't you?
You've got access to the controls whilst riding.
Whilst riding, yeah.
Now, you've done a few of these days.
Yeah.
What's in it for you? Because looking out there, it's wet and cold
a lot
and
of water in
uncomfortable.
it for us. And,
what do you get out of it?
Thrills. That's what you get. Fear.
Yeah.
A lot of fear. A lot of injuries. So what more could we want?
What goes through your mind when you're out there doing it? Are you out there giving it, I am the greatest racer ever, or are you practicing and honing your technique?
Yeah, actually, you learn a lot out of, when it's wet like that. You can learn an awful lot about bike control, can't you? How much, it might just save your life. You have to swerve out the way of someone, might it?
I mean, those outside the biking fraternity are going to turn around and go, yeah, it's not, it's just teaching you to rev the what's-its off it and go and misbehave on the road. It doesn't, does it?
No, this is where you can go mad, if you like, safely, a lot safer. There's no lampposts, no cars, there's no walls, If you fall off here, there's an ambulance dead handy.
Now, there's a useful little tip here from you, which this old bus here, she's not actually as well-worn as she looks. It's purely that you very wisely changed the kit.
Yeah, you just go to a scrapyard, one of the bike breakers, get all second-hand tanks. It doesn't matter if it's all dented, second-hand fairings, just chuck them on. And then if you do hurl it, it's only second-hand stuff, it doesn't matter,
Absolutely,
does it?
Send it down the road, it's not too expensive. I like that, that's a very good idea.
It is, and of course, it's like brand new when you sell it, because you would never race or rally your vehicle, you look after them too much, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, good luck out there shooting your footage in the rain. I'll be out there behind you. I've got this ear infection, and I'm a bit worried that, the pressure.
It's quite possible.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if that clears up, I'll be...
I've had some infections, they've all cleared up.
Look, I've got to go. It might look pretty frantic. Actually, this is more or less a road bike, more or less, Paul. I mean, what is different on here? Because this is from the Aprilia Championship, so one make.
Basically, what it is with the bike, the most important side of it is they take all the road gear off, such as the road panels. Everything's replaceable because you're going to break them when you fall off, and that's one thing that's guaranteed.
When?
Yeah. You're going out on these bikes, doing the Aprilia Challenge. You're going around somewhere like this, 142, 136, really, really quick. And it is basically a road bike. They govern, they go out, you can't cheat. There's 62 bhp. If it's over 62, 63, 64, you're called in, they'll rip your engine apart.
So basically it is down to driver skill, drivability, and that's it, there's nothing more
The
than
level
that.
factor is, you've got to be good.
When you're out, okay, I mean, that's riding in championships, talking about riding on days like today, I mean, even on this bike, what kind of stepping stone is this? You've done some competitive racing, so...
Well, it's a great stepping stone because it gets you back into it. You probably find there's a lot of people my age who've gone off at like 20, we raced a bit, we finished off, and now at the age of 40 you think, yeah, let's get back into it. It's a great day, and plus it gets your adrenaline going without having to go mad on the road.
So it's kind of, there's born-again bikers and there's born-again racers.
Yeah, exactly.
You are a born-again racer.
Yeah, this is what's happening, and now this year what I'm going to do is just get back into racing. Ideally we've got a couple of races lined up to do on it, but we race a 400 class, which are quick, but we'll make it up on the bends.
Excellent, get out there and enjoy yourself. I'll be right behind you. Right behind you, I mean like here. I can't believe you called it that. I can't. Moto Hall. It's Moto Hall. Because, explain how this works, Andy. Why I can't believe you've given it this name. What happens with your customers? Just tell me what happens. So we come along, we want to go on a track.
Right then, the idea is that a lot of people don't want to ride their own bikes at track days. So what we do is we rent out bikes for them to use on a track. Charge £150 a day. and if they drop the bike, they're just liable for the damage that they do, up to a total of £150.
The first 150 quid, but after that, it's not like your insurance record that's up the spout and then you're in big trouble.
No,
and these are the ones you hire out, hence Moto Hawk. Who thought of that? That's an appalling name. Now, Moto Technic is your other company, and it's what exactly are you doing?
We sell Aprilias, basically, and we do training, scooters, that sort of thing.
Half the guys here today are actually your customers.
No, we've brought along about 10 people. The day's organised by speed freaks that do this all over the country. They make their living, I think, out of.
But you contact your close customers and say, right, come along.
Come along. And if they've got one of these little 250s, obviously we've got all the spares here. So if they do have an accident, as you can see today, there's been lots of accidents already.
It's a bit soggy.
Then we can fix the bikes for them and they can get back out on the tracks. It's the circuit time that's expensive, really.
Yeah. How much benefit is it? I mean, obviously you're selling what are essentially race bikes on the road, so I guess this is really important for you.
It's hard for me to say because I'm not that much into road bikes anymore. I think that they're great fun, but they're too fast for the road, and if they're used in a controlled environment like this, then it's safer.
Do you think there are more people? I suppose in many ways motorcycling is becoming not more expensive, but more people are happy to spend more money on it. So maybe as they become more of a toy, the ultimate toy is a bike that you only use on a track, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's got to be the best toy in the world.
There's very few motorcycles that are practical transport these days. Most of them are toys, and the best used in a place like this.
Now, are you out riding today?
Yeah.
It's a bit soggy, Andy.
Yeah, it's actually quite slippy, but it's okay as long as you're smooth with it. You know, it's obviously a lot better on a dry day.
Useful techniques then to be applied, I suppose, when you're out riding on the road.
Tame down, yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah, at least it lets you know what your bike will do in more extreme conditions. If you try and ride like this on the road, you're just going to hurt yourself. You know, I've had friends that have died on motorbikes, and to me it's much more important that you do it in this sort of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'll be out, but so I've got this pin, and it's moving, and then these boots you know, if the weather clears up, I might.
Yeah.
Or I might not.
You want to give it that?
Now, I hope you were paying attention last week when I spoke about this little lot here, this big lot here, Aftermarket Cans. We spoke about what you get and what you need to pay to get that. Well, as promised, we've had them all on a dyno, and this is what we found. We took all of our cans along to meet our old friend Jared Frost at Holeshot Racing across in Yorkshire. If anyone knows about performance, Jared is the man. First job was to establish a reference point, so with the standard can on, 3 runs were done on the bike, right up 13,500 revs beyond the red line, and the average taken, this being 90 brake horsepower. And so on to the aftermarket cans, and first up is the Hytera £199 worth of round carbon race can. Again, 3 readings were done, and Hytera's best performance turned out to be 92.9 brake horsepower. Next up, the dearest in our little gathering, the Devil, £314 for this round carbon race can, and Devil's best performance on the day, 93 brake horsepower. Next up was the Edge race can, £190 this one. Again, 3 runs were conducted, and Edge's best performance today was 93.3 brake horsepower. Now the first of our oval cans, the Blue Flame, £219 will buy you this tricky coloured oval race can. Again, 3 runs were conducted with the Blue Flame, and I should point out that no rejetting was done on the machine with any of these cans, and most machines would benefit from some rejetting. Blue Flame managed to score 94.5 brake horsepower. And so on to a rather different looking can from Norman Hyde. This is a textured pearl red alloy race can. And if that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. £253 would buy you one of these, and Norman Hyde managed to achieve 93.4 brake horsepower. And so on to the cheapest of our little gathering, £155 only will buy you the Carbon Can Company race can. And today they managed to achieve 93.5 brake horsepower. And so on to the limited edition Scorpion can, £199 for this Nice oval race can. And after 3 runs with the Scorpion, it produced our best result so far. 94.66 brake horsepower. Remember, the standard can produced just 90. So just one left to go. A name that's been around probably the longest, Micron. This is their red alloy race can. And it gave the Scorpion a run for its money. Managed to produce a top figure of 94.62. So if all of that hasn't confused you, let me try and just clarify things a little bit. The standard can produced 90 brake horsepower. Hytera managed 92.9 brake horsepower. Devil 93 brake horsepower, and the Edge 93.3. The Norman Hyde can produced 93.4, Carbon Can Company 93.5, and the Blue Flame 94.5. There's absolutely very little to separate any of the cans. Micron managed 94.62, but the best result of our little selection on the day was produced from the limited edition Scorpion can, with a top power output of 94.66 brake horsepower. So what has all of that achieved? Well, it's achieved a very, very large headache for the cameraman because it's extremely noisy in a dyno room, believe me. But the results really were, well, as we suspected. Whilst all of these have improved the performance over the standard can, it's very, very difficult to split them. They're all very, very close, and if you covered up all the badges on them and went out on the bike, you'd never know. You just wouldn't know which can you had on. They're all easy to fit, you don't need any special tools. Some go on slightly better than the others, some of the clamps are better than the others, but they all go on after a bit of fiddling about. No special tools, as I say, a couple of spanners, Allen bolt. They'll only go on one way, you can't get it wrong, it's as simple as that. So we've got polished ones, carbon ones, colour matched ones, fancy textured ones, and a fancy Blue Flame one there with some tricky colours on it. So really, at the end of the day, it's whatever you like the look of. Whatever you want to spend your money on to make your bike look nice, that's the one you need to buy, because performance-wise, you're not going to know the difference. And after the break, we chat with Max Biaggi and Carlos Checa.
When Max and Carlos arrived in our team, that we very quickly understood that there was a big difference on riding styles. Max, for sure, is more concentrated on high corner speed, and Carlos is more used to sliding the bike.
Sometimes you need to do it because maybe this is the only chance to make the corner tight, you know, to have a tight exit, so you slide the rear tire, you turn around and accelerate in the other way.
I like to push rear, slide a little, and this means can help for turning, no? It's two styles, no? It's just pushing rear or pushing front and try to keep the line, like 1 to 5 or to 50. Or other way to push rear and try to slide a little, and this also helps for turning.
For spinning the rear, the different riders want different things. Some want it a lot. For example, Carlos really likes to spin the rear, and it's another one of those compromises. I can set the bike up so it spins really easy, but that alters how good it is in other areas.
We are working both on casing and rubber to get the best feeling to the rider. But it's the same thing for Carlos or Max. They have a different feeling and need different tires to suit to their style.
Some tires need a lot of grip, or when the grip is down, the bike start to pumping and they lose the grip very quickly. Some tires have maybe a level of grip is a little bit low, but it's more constant and it's more rideable, so the sliding is more controlled, so it's more easy for the ride.
After a few months and some season, you understand much better this kind of dangerous part of motorcycle career.
Excuse me, mate, can I mind your car for £1? Eh? What do you mean you've got a Rottweiler in the back? What difference does that make? Can it put fires out? Eh? Oh, you've just got me doing my new job as a security guard in the car park. The security is very important for cars and obviously for bikes. And I've touched on the subject many times before on two wheels with locking chains, alarms and immobilisers. There's absolutely loads of different alarms and immobilisers out there. I mean, in the way of immobilisers, you've got blinking Gemini, you've got Laser, you've got Spybar, Data Tool, flipping loads and different ones. But I want to show you and talk to this chap who knows about a different one. It's called the Taurus. And what's special about it is it zero drains your battery. Completely no drain at all. So you can leave your bike parked up for months and months in the garage and no fear of the battery being flat because of the immobiliser. And this man's Graham Turnbull, and there's nothing he don't know about this product, so I'm going to introduce you to him. Hello Graham. Graham, tell us a bit then, the difference between an immobiliser and an alarm.
The alarm makes a noise and distracts people and causes a nuisance, and the immobiliser doesn't.
Right.
And it totally immobilises the bike.
Stops people riding the bike away.
That's right, yes.
Immobilising the ignition then. Now there's different ways of doing this, isn't there? I know that you can have these key fob things, which people have nightmares with because the batteries go on them, and then the thing's sat there and they can't use it themselves. Then you've got the ones where they're like a contact thing, haven't they? But yours is different, am I right?
That's right, yes. It's a transponder-based immobiliser.
And what does that mean? I mean, how do I work it, for example?
We attach a key mould to the original key from the motorbike, and you just put it in the ignition barrel, turn the ignition on and start the bike.
So me as the user hasn't got to pass a test in this case. I put the key in the way I did before, but you fitted a device to the key, and we've got the lads down there working at the moment, and they fitted, I presume, a clever black box somewhere, have they?
That's correct, yes. And you don't have to do anything different to what you did originally when you first bought the bike.
How do we go about buying one?
We have a nationwide fitting service that we can come and fit them at work, at home or in the shop.
But they can still go to the shop and buy it over the counter and have the mechanics in the workshop fit it?
Yes, that's right, as long as they are approved fitters, yes.
That's the important factor?
Yes, it is.
They've got to be approved fitters. Why approved? Is it because it's complicated?
No, it's insurance approved, and it has to be fit to a conform standard that's approved by a registered body.
Right, and so that's why these lads have to be fully trained. This registered body then, is it like the car people, the people who do the approvals for alarms and securities on cars? Is it the Thatcham system, is that the one?
That's right, yes. Thatcham took over the testing of the motorcycle security in August 1999.
And because they have appraised it and weighed the job up, that means the product's got to be good. That's yours and several others that are available. I mean, there's Data Tool and Spyball and all the others. So that is, yours is one of the many. But does this mean then that there's a bit of old lolly off on the insurance? Because we're all very keen to get a few quid in our pocket, you know.
No, that's right. You should get 10% discount from your insurance company.
All right then. But what's the cost of the unit? I mean, you know, it's got a balance. So what's the cost of a unit?
Retail, it's £140, and then there's the fitting time on top of that, which on average on a motorcycle is about 2 hours, and on a scooter is around about an hour to an hour and a quarter.
All right then. So we could be, in the end, it could be a couple of £100, but the fact is, that is probably less than the excess on an insurance policy anyway if the bike is stolen. What about the different types of bikes? Is it just big super bikes or what?
No, we can use it on any bike and any scooter. Bikes including Harley Davidson, where you don't have an ignition barrel, we've modified the system so that it can be used on those. And the best thing about it for the user is that he can't really see anything different, because the aerial goes on top of the ignition barrel and looks exactly the same as it was, as I say, when he originally bought the bike.
Now, in the early 90s, if you wanted a sports bike, you had a GSXR 1100 Suzuki, a big brute of a thing, or an FZR Yamaha with the X-up valve. And then Honda came on the scene with this, the CBR 900 Fireblade. Here it is, as small as a 600, in fact as light as a 600. 185 kilos, that's all it was, but 125 brake horsepower. In a very, very compact chassis. See how short it is? Just like the modern CBR6. Tiny little 16-inch front wheel. It all looks very squat and very sporty. And if you sit on it, you can see you sit down in it. Very, very big, broad tank here, low bars, a real racer for the road, real clip-ons job. And you knew you had a top sports bike. Now the blade was a hit straight away, so they didn't need to do much to it. So 2 years later, just a bit of a facelift, very distinctive fox eye headlamps there, and also this distinctive Urban Tiger paint scheme. Famous, that one. It's now 1996 and the blade has grown up somewhat. For a start off, it's got a bigger engine, up 35cc to 918cc. But not only that, completely new frame. Looks very similar, but it's a completely redesigned frame. It's made the riding position more relaxed, seats a bit lower, the bars are a little bit higher, and so it's more of a, well, it's silly to say a sports tourer, but it's softened the edge a little bit. New instrument layout, brand new set of forks as well, but the rest of it, pretty well the same. 2 years on, we're up to 1998, blade selling well, so what do we get? Brand new fairing for a start off, and also a brand new headlamp. But another important thing, they've again made the bike more rounded by improving the riding position again. And another thing, it's got yet another new display, with the first time a digital display up the top right there. It's now 8 years on, and we're in year 2000, so naturally we get a year 2000 blade. But I'll tell you what, I'm not actually going to tell you about this one now, I'm going to test this one.
Well, you can see Jeff riding the 2000 model Honda Fireblade on 2 wheels next week. Also, we take a look at some of the amazing machines which Wayne stumbled upon at this year's Rock and Blues Custom Show.